Am I the a-hole for switching to regular milk to prove my lactose-intolerant roommate keeps stealing from me? Me and 2 other guys share an apartment together, and we split all the bills. The only thing we don't split costs on is groceries. Everyone's in charge of buying their own food, and we don't touch whatever doesn't belong to us in the fridge. We put our names on everything, so no one gets mixed up. This issue has been going on for almost a year, and I'm sick of it. One of my roommates, Ray, keeps stealing my food. I get home from work and containers with my leftovers are sometimes missing. They have my name written on them, or my stuff finishes too quickly. My gallon of milk, for example. I buy almond milk because I like the taste, but it seems to run out after a week, even though I've only had it once or twice. I've confronted Ray about this lots of times, and it's caused a lot of arguments. He outright denies it and tells me I'm crazy, even though it's so obvious. My other roommate and I carpool together because we both work the same early morning shifts around the same area, so I know it's not him. It's always after we get back home and Ray's already left for work that I notice my food's gone. My roommates had a similar problem, but not as often as I do. I'm guessing it's because Ray doesn't like what he buys. The funny thing is, Ray buys a lot for himself and is even more stingy about his food. He will literally point out what's his when he comes back from grocery shopping and tell us not to touch it. Last week, my milk was nearly empty again, and I got fed up. I went to the liquor store and bought regular dairy milk. I drank what was left of my almond milk and refilled the gallon with the one I bought. This was to catch and prove Ray is the one stealing since he's lactose intolerant. The next day, Saturday, we get back from work and Ray is pissed. He yelled at me that he was stuck in the bathroom for 40 minutes with diarrhea because of my milk. He was using it to make a shake. I only responded with, "So then you're the one who's been stealing?" He freaking exploded. Yeah, he admitted he was sometimes drinking my milk and eating my food, but he was more mad that I switched milks than the fact that he was caught. I told him I wouldn't have done that if he'd just stopped taking my stuff from the fridge, or at least told the truth instead of trying to make it seem like I was making it up. Our other roommate backed me up and thought it was kind of funny he got payback for stealing from us. It's a little tense right now, and my roommate told me Ray is trying to convince him to agree to kick me out. Little does he know, we're both looking to move somewhere else together because we are sick of his crap. I told some buddies what happened, and a few think I was an a-hole for that. I feel like I'm not in the wrong here. He was taking my food and not even owning up to it, and I wanted to prove it. Does that make me the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. As you said, if Ray wasn't stealing your food, he wouldn't have had a problem. How dare you make me face the consequences of my own actions? Imagine a thief is used to burglarizing a home because all he had to do is punt the chihuahua to break in, and suddenly one day it gets replaced with a Rottweiler and the thief then complains to the homeowners how dare they get a new flesh-tearing dog. Basically his roommate. Not the a-hole. It's your food. You could have put your medicine in it, or even your pet's medication in it. You could have put a laxative in it, or even syrup of ipecac, and I would still say not the a-hole. When people steal food, lie about it, and don't replace it, they reap what they sow. Food is expensive, especially milk substitutes. Without replacing the food, he was essentially stealing money from your wallet. Oh yeah, it really is. I try to buy from grocery stores that sell all organic, so it does get pretty expensive. Not the a-hole. You can tell him you could have done something much worse like peeing in the milk, or putting vinegar in it. Instead, he went a somewhat more mature way by buying real dairy milk. I was gonna drink that milk too, so better it wasn't pee or vinegar lol. Not the a-hole. I read a story where something similar occurred. OP liked spicy food, and food thief ate it, then reported OP to HR for trying to poison him. Eventually, OP got fired after HR agreed with food thief. OP got a lawyer and story came out that HR and food thief were in a relationship. Company owner fired both offenders and hired OP back with increased pay. Dude sucks for stealing your food, and I would have done the same thing. Damn, that's wild. Damn, now I wish we could switch scenarios so I can get paid more instead of being stuck with him as a roommate. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not lending my sister-in-law money after she got the house that was supposed to be shared? Okay, so this has been eating at me, and I need outside opinions before I lose my mind. A few months ago, my late grandparents' house was finally handed over. For years, we were always told, literally by my grandma herself, that the house would go to all of us, as in shared between me, my siblings, and even my sister-in-law, my brother's wife. You know, family home vibes? So I never made any plans of my own when it came to housing. I thought I'd eventually live there, or at least have a stake. Well, turns out the will had one name, just one. My sister-in-law. Not even my brother, her. My mom says it's because she helped take care of my grandparents during their last years, which is true, but so did I, just less visibly. I don't want to sound petty, but it felt like getting kicked in the teeth. No heads up. No, hey, by the way, the house is hers now. Just silence, then surprise. Fast forward to now, my sister-in-law asked if I could lend her money for home repairs. Like fixing the roof or plumbing, I don't even remember. I just said, sorry, I can't right now. Which is true, but also, yeah, I don't want to help fund a house that was basically yanked out from under me. Now some family members are acting like I'm being dramatic or holding a grudge. Maybe I am, but wouldn't anyone feel weird about this? I didn't yell, I didn't make a scene, I just politely said no. So, am I the a-hole for keeping my wallet shut? It wasn't your house when your grandma was alive, and now you know it isn't going to be even a small part of your house anymore. It means now you need to save money for your own. Not the a-hole. Yeah, you're right. I think deep down I was still clinging to the idea that it would be our family home like my grandma always said. But I guess that chapter's closed now, and you're right. It's probably time I focus on building something for myself instead of holding on to what could have been. Thanks for the reality check. Not the a-hole. In what world do siblings have to help fund home repairs? It's not something that I have ever seen. She's acting very entitled to even ask, regardless of how she got the house. Sister-in-law gets the house, which means your brother does too, but all the other relatives expect you to put up the money? Yeah, I get how weird it sounds, but that's literally what happened. The title is under her name only, not even my brother's. And now that stuff needs fixing, people are saying I should help because it's still family property. Like, how is it ours again now that money is involved? It just felt like I got cut out when it mattered most. So yeah, I'm not super motivated to help out financially. No hard feelings, just boundaries. My stepmom, I was like 30 when they got married. I was all set as far as mothers go. Pulled something similar after my dad died. After the funeral, we found out she got the house, which, fair enough. I didn't expect his will to make her homeless. But then within weeks, she says she needs help with the mortgage and repairs, and some appliances that need replacing or some stuff. Coincidentally, I had just gotten a $5,000 life insurance check, which was the full extent of my inheritance. There shouldn't have been a mortgage. They drained their equity dry and pissed it away on vacations and luxury cars, while I was and am barely treading water, and she still had the gall to cry pauper. Sounds like your dad gave her the house so she couldn't escape the home equity loans they took out. I'd be wondering if she's the one who took them out, and this was his revenge, but we don't have enough information to say one way or the other. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to hang out with my husband's friend as a couple after his wife was a bridezilla and yelled at me? My husband was a groomsman in a wedding a little under 2 years ago. He was very close with the groom, but unfortunately, their friendship started falling off shortly after the groom started dating his now wife, because she's socially abrasive and has to be right in conversation, as if everything were a debate. She once yelled at my husband to get out when he walked into their house to use the restroom. He had the groom's permission while visiting. It ended up being an uncomfortable visit in the garage. Cue the wedding. The bride called me on our way to the venue. The bridal party was asked to arrive 2 hours early and asked me to pick up a sign-in book since it was overlooked. I was happy to help. My husband and I, one other wife, a friend of the groom, and a few other groomsmen were chatting during some idle time. When I heard the bride screaming at the top of her lungs that anyone not in the bridal party is not allowed to be in that part of the venue until the wedding begins. Being one of the 3 guests there, one of 2 with spouses in the bridal party, I was very embarrassed. There were no signs, no instructions, the valet never notified us, and security never informed us of this rule. I immediately wanted to leave and offered to pick my husband up when it was over. My husband was upset and said he would leave if they found it acceptable to treat me like that, but I told him to stay and chalked it up to her being stressed. I ended up sitting in my car for over an hour with the other wife and didn't feel fully comfortable for the rest of the night. We've seen very little of them since the wedding. They had a gender reveal and we didn't attend because my mom had just died a few days prior, and I was still an absolute mess. They were angry we didn't go and used it as an opportunity to talk badly about us. Since then, I've only seen her briefly in social settings where I try my best to keep my distance. The groom has been begging my husband and me to go boating with them, but I really don't want to be stuck on a boat with her for hours. My husband keeps bringing it up, and I keep reminding him that being around her makes me feel sick to my stomach. I tell him to go by himself, but he refuses. Every week for the past month, he's brought up offers to go boating, and every week I refuse to entertain the idea. My husband seems bothered by having to turn down what should be a fun time, but understands that it wouldn't actually be fun. I feel like I may be the a-hole because my husband and the groom were very close, and now that he's married to a woman I don't feel comfortable around, I am becoming the factor that keeps them apart. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your husband is looking for you to keep his friend's wife company. Suggest to hubby that maybe they should just make it a man's trip for just them 2. I do like this idea, but his wife is very much him against doing anything without her. She has to be there or it doesn't happen. Then he's going to learn the hard way that if he lets her treat his friends poorly, all he'll have left is her, which is a classic abuser tactic. I would tell your husband to keep inviting the groom to hang out, just the 2 of them, but you have no interest in spending time with someone so abusive, but that the both of you will always be there for him if he needs you. Not the a-hole, and it's time to tell hubby he needs to stop asking you. You shouldn't have to keep telling him no and reminding him how much you don't want to be around her. His buddy's inability to stand up to his wife and tell her he's having a hangout with his buddy without her isn't your problem. Hubby can go alone or not at all, but he needs to stop bringing it up to you. Those who are saying weddings are stressful and you should give her one more chance are ignoring her horrific behavior at the gender reveal. You had just lost your mother, and instead of offering deepest sympathy, she got mad at you and bad-mouthed you to friends when you didn't attend. That's a-hole behavior. She's shown her character, and you don't need to spend time with someone so incredibly awful. Your husband needs to back off. And it wasn't just the wedding. She was known to be abrasive to OP before the wedding and has repeatedly exhibited this behavior. OP's husband needs to stand up for his wife. OP is not into being around them. He either needs to tell them what's up and say he finds how his wife treated OP was abhorrent, or he needs to just shut it down and say we are not going to be that kind of friend anymore. But stop putting it to OP as a choice. Last story. Am I the a-hole for saying we should just put my wife's grandma in a nursing home? My 33 wife's 32 grandma 79 is an absolute chaos machine. She is the most manipulative person I've ever met. Everything has to be about her. And if it's not, like say a kid's birthday or my wife's other grandma's freaking funeral, she makes it about her. She threw an absolute screaming fit because we weren't thankful enough for our daughter's birthday present. Our daughter got tons of presents. We thanked everyone, but she wanted a complete show of how grateful we were that she got our daughter a $15 doll from Walmart. We were happy about it. Our daughter wanted it and played with it. We said thank you, but she was still upset that her doll wasn't the star of the show and that we didn't make a big spectacle over it. She does this about everything. She wasn't invited to a pool party that didn't even have anyone she would know, and she threw a fit. She made my wife's cousin's wife cry, got kicked out, and threw a whole tantrum over that. She didn't get invited on my wife's parents' vacation, literally just the 2 of them. And she called everyone in the family crying about it. She has pissed off everyone. She does this kind of crap to everyone. She made a waitress cry and complains about the food everywhere she goes. The food is fine, it's her. It's embarrassing as heck. When she was in the hospital, we had to take turns sitting with her because she would otherwise refuse medication and then act like the nurses weren't giving her her meds. The family sent "I'm sorry" pizzas and cupcakes for every shift that had to deal with her. She has done so much crap that absolutely no one wants to deal with her at all. However, my wife's family believes she is their responsibility, and so they take turns caring for her instead of putting her in a home. No one is happy about it, but they just deal with it and try to placate her. Honestly, she's probably going to outlive us all out of spite. Recently, we had a family meeting to decide how to continue dealing with her because she's just getting more violent and abusive. I suggested we put her in a home and be done with it. She is not out of her mind. She is fully cognitively fine. She's just an awful person, and now she's old and can get away with more or cry elderly abuse. Apparently, my suggestion was awful and she is our responsibility. My wife agreed with me, and a few of her cousins did as well, but my wife's dad and his siblings, not any of their spouses because they hate her and the feeling is mutual, were upset about the idea of putting their mom in a home. I mean, it's not like they couldn't visit. I'm tired of dealing with her. I'm tired of my wife dealing with her and coming home upset. I'm tired of hearing about her BS. I'm pretty sure the woman is possessed. She is spiteful, hateful, and manipulative. The only people she is nice to are the children, because they are easy to manipulate. Am I the a-hole for telling them to just put her in a home? Edit. She does not have dementia. She has been awful her whole life. She managed to get 4 men to marry her, and every one of them divorced and ran. She even lost custody of her kids, and back then, a mother straight up losing custody was nuts. 2 of her 7 kids won't even acknowledge her as their mother. Then you just opt out of taking turns taking care of her. Skip your turn forever. You are no longer participating in her care. Period. It is not up for debate or discussion. If others want to sign up to wrangle the chaos, that is their choice. And drop that dang rope. Not your monkey, not your circus. If they try to guilt stuff, shut it down. You made your choice, they made their choice. Not the a-hole. She's a grandmother. Let her children decide what to do. Either the children take care of her, or they put her in a home. Don't allow your wife to be pressured into taking on her care. Agreed. The wife's father and his siblings should make all of the decisions about this woman. In no way should the next generation, the grandchildren, OP's wife, shoulder any responsibility about her future care.